We have built a civilization that measures a person's worth by the height of their bank account and the length of their titles, yet we remain deeply impoverished in spirit. We spend our youth trading sleepless nights for symbols of status, believing that the next promotion or purchase will finally grant us the right to rest. But the Stoics saw through this endless chase, recognizing that wealth without inner peace is merely a gilded cage. True prosperity is not found in adding more to your life, but in subtracting the endless desires that keep you enslaved. When you tie your self-worth to external gains, you hand the key to your happiness to a world that is inherently unpredictable. Seneca reminded us that he is not poor who has little, but he who craves more. The richest human being is simply the one who requires the least to be content. Consider the immense energy we waste trying to impress people who are often too preoccupied with their own lives to even notice. We accumulate fine possessions not for their utility, but to construct an armor of success that shields us from the judgment of others. Yet, this pursuit creates a silent, constant anxiety. For anything that can be gained through the opinions of society can just as easily be taken away. Marcus Aurelius frequently observed that the applause of the crowd is nothing more than the clapping of hands, as fleeting as the wind. When you base your success on external approval, you become a puppet controlled by the whims of strangers. True nobility lies in seeking the approval of your own conscience, away from the noisy gallery of the world. Peace arrives when you stop living for the audience and begin living for the soul. We often imagine tranquility as a rare luxury, something to be enjoyed only after every goal is met and every financial battle is won. We tell ourselves that we will finally relax once the house is paid off, the career is secured, or the future is entirely guaranteed. But life is an unwritten script, and the quiet harbor you are waiting for will never arrive through external circumstances alone. Epictetus taught that freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it at its root. If you cannot find calm in the midst of your current daily struggle, no amount of fortune will buy it for you later. Wealth merely magnifies the state of your mind. A restless spirit will remain restless even in a palace. The time to cultivate a quiet heart is right now, in the middle of the noise. The world encourages us to run an endless race where the finish line is perpetually moved. The moment we approach it, no sooner do we achieve one milestone than the mind invents a new lack, convincing us that we are still somehow falling short. This perpetual hunger is not a sign of ambition, but a subtle form of madness that starves us of the present moment. Stoicism asks us to pause and examine the absurdity of running toward a horizon that continually recedes. You do not need to conquer the entire world to prove that your existence has value or purpose. The ultimate victory is not conquering others or accumulating vast domains, but mastering the chaotic impulses of your own mind. True success is simply learning to stand still when everything around you is rushing. We tend to measure success by what we display to the world, rarely stopping to audit the hidden costs of our achievements. We trade away our time, our health, and our closest relationships in exchange for achievements that fade like morning mist. When we look back at the end of our lives, the fancy titles and stored riches will offer zero comfort to a heart that lived in constant stress. The Stoics practiced the art of remembering death, not to induce despair, but to strip away the illusions of worldly ambition. In the grand expanse of time, the grandest monuments crumble into dust, equalized by the quiet soil beneath us. Knowing that our time under the sun is strictly limited, why spend it chasing shadows that possess no lasting substance? Perhaps the only success that truly matters is leaving this life with an unpolluted mind. Society conditions us to view adversity as a failure, a sign that we have somehow strayed from the path of a prosperous life. When plans fall apart or financial losses occur, we sink into shame, believing that our worth has been diminished by circumstance. But a Stoic views difficulty not as an obstacle to success, but as the very raw material from which character is forged. The calm soul understands that true wealth is an internal fortress that no stock market crash or bad fortune can ever plunder. You are not defined by the silver in your hands, but by the quiet dignity with which you face the unexpected storms. When external things fall away, you are given the rare gift of discovering what within you is truly indestructible. Adversity does not ruin a successful life. It simply reveals the true measure of your strength. We spend our lives striving to control the external world, convinced that security comes from building higher walls and larger reserves. We hoard resources out of a deep-seated fear of the unknown, believing that enough wealth can protect us from the uncertainties of tomorrow. Yet, the universe remains profoundly indifferent to our human plans, sweeping away empires with a single breath of fate. Stoicism reminds us that the only true security exists within our ability to adapt, endure, and maintain composure. You do not need to control the outcome of every event to be safe. You only need to master your response to whatever unfolds. When you release the desperate need to control the future, a profound sense of relief fills the space where fear used to live. Serenity is not the absence of danger, but the presence of an unshakable inner trust. In our relentless drive to accumulate more, we forget the profound art of appreciating what is already sitting quietly in front of us. We walk past the simple beauty of a quiet morning, the warmth of a simple meal, or the gift of a clear breath, entirely consumed by what we do not yet possess. The ego is always focused on the empty space in the cup, completely blind to the liquid that currently fills it. Stoic philosophy teaches us to practice voluntary simplicity, periodically stepping away from luxury to remember how little we actually need to be happy. When you realize that a quiet mind and a healthy body are the true foundations of a good life, the urge to chase unnecessary luxuries simply dissolves. Joy is not hidden in the distant future. It is waiting patiently in your capacity to appreciate the present. You already hold the keys to the kingdom you are striving to build. We often mistake quietness for laziness, assuming that a person who is not constantly striving must lack drive or purpose. But there is a vast difference between the frantic energy of an anxious mind and the deliberate, purposeful action of a centered soul. A Stoic does not abandon work or responsibility. Rather, they perform their duties with excellence while remaining completely detached from the outcome. They act out of virtue and service rather than a desperate need for recognition or reward. When your motivation shifts from personal vanity to inner integrity, your work transforms from a source of stress into an act of peace. You no longer labor to convince the world of your value, but to align your actions with your highest nature. The highest form of ambition is not to be known by many, but to be truly at peace with yourself. At the final horizon of existence, the world's definition of success will mean nothing to your departing spirit. The bank balances will be transferred, the trophies will collect dust in forgotten rooms, and the noise of public opinion will fall completely silent. In that final, quiet moment, the only question that will echo in your heart is how deeply you lived and how peacefully you moved through the world. Did you allow your precious days to be consumed by anger, greed, and constant comparison? Or did you cultivate a sanctuary of calm within? Stoicism is ultimately a gentle preparation for this moment, reminding us to live each day as if it were a complete life in itself. Redefine your success today, before time makes the choice for you. True wealth was never in your hands. It was always in your tranquility.